This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and Leo Brent Bozell IV, who just got convicted by a federal D.C. judge for obstruction of Congress, 10 charges, 5 different felonies for his role in attacking Capitol Police on Jan 6th, is the son of right-wing conservative MAGA activist Leo Brent Bozell III. We're going to talk about father and son on this particular hot take only on the MeidasTouch network. All right, let's get back to the apple and the tree. Leo Brent Bozell IV, known as Zeker, who decided to wear a sweatshirt advertising his school that he went to in Pennsylvania, the Hershey Christian Academy, along with a baseball cap. His lawyer tried to portray at the trial in front of Judge Bates, because there was no jury, because they elected to waive their jury trial because they knew, having watched the Department of Justice in 10 or 11 prior cases whip the behind of anybody in front of a jury, decided, well, let's take our shot with the judge. And it didn't fare any better, especially when his lawyer, William Shipley, likes to portray his clients as just the accidental tourists, literally, who are wandering around the Capitol on Jan 6th, going through broken windows, meandering around from room to room, and really not doing anything that's a crime. When the Department of Justice puts on all of its evidence, including video footage that shows people, especially Leo Brent Bozell, battling it out with the police, breaking through multiple lines of police protection, chasing Capitol Police, in this case Eugene Goodman, in the Senate itself, and the like. This went so far beyond the accidental tourist that his lawyer, Bill Shipley, laid it out to the judge as, that the judge concluded at the end that he was the person in front of him, Leo Brent Bozell, I'll just call him Zeker, that Zeker was a major contributor to the chaos that happened on Jan 6th. Think about the chaos on Jan 6th, the bloodshed, the carnage, the steps that were wet with blood, according to the testimony of Capitol Police, in battles that reminded her, she was a former military person, part of our military, reminded her of Fallujah and the fighting there. And this judge concluded that Zeker was a major contributor to the chaos. Particularly the Department of Justice, and I think it's worth reading directly from their press release about what this gentleman did so that you understand it. And then I'm going to talk about his father. Then I'm going to talk about the tree, Mr. Bozell, and all of the right-wing MAGA stuff that he's done and said. And then you'll see why his 44-year-old son would take up the cause of Donald Trump and attack the Capitol. And this is what the Department of Justice says about Bozell, the younger. After the rally on the Ellipse, speeches given by Donald Trump, John Eastman, Rudy Giuliani, and others, Bozell marched with the crowd to the Capitol grounds and made his way past police barriers. Bozell approached the northwest stairs, lined with bike racks and police officers trying to prevent the mob from accessing the Capitol. Bozell used a bike rack as a makeshift ladder to ascend to the landing platform. Once there, he waved others up the steps as he stood face to face with the Capitol Police. While at the front of the mob, another rioter coordinated the crowd, yelling, "Are you ready to push? Are you ready to push?" The rioters, with Bozell at the front, barreled through the police line. And once at the top of the stairs, the mob overtook the police line, gaining a path to the Capitol building. The judge blamed Bozell for overrunning the first line of defense at the Capitol. But the Department of Justice continues to summarize its evidence against Bozell, both videotape, testimonial, and documents. When Bozell reached the Senate wing doors, he bashed an exterior window pane 10 times with a hard object, causing it to break. He moved a couple of feet over to another window directly north of the Senate wing door and bashed that window 11 times until the glass shattered. At 2:15, Bozell, with a score of other rioters, clambered through the window that he helped break. Remember, while this is going on, let's just talk about the split screen here. Senators are scrambling for their lives. They're running and crawling for their lives, including Mike Pence. And the Capitol Police, the dozen or so inside the building, right, until they got reinforcements, are outmatched, outmanned, outnumbered, outgunned by people like Bozell. We'll talk about Eugene Goodman in a minute. The Department of Justice continues to summarize its evidence. Bozell and other rioters marched towards the Senate wing as the nearby Senate staffers hurried away from the mob. That's what the Capitol Police are worried about, not the broken windows and the chairs and flags and everything else. The people. They're there to protect the people. That's their first job. That's why Ashley Babbitt got shot, because she broke through the line, broke through a window, was crawling through a window that would have taken her down the speaker's hallway directly to waiting senators, including Nancy Pelosi, and a murderous mob behind her offering and chanting to hang her. That's why she got shot. But back to Bozell. A Capitol Police officer responding to the breach confronted Bozell. The mob chased the officer up a staircase. Now, this is Eugene Goodman, who's a hero, who has been awarded medals related to what he did. The only thing he could do, because he was outnumbered and outmatched, was to use his brain, use his logic, and have them chase him, right? It's like a movie. Hey, here. And they chased him because he knew that they were getting close to breaching the entry into the Senate chamber itself, and that not everybody had been loaded out of there, staffers and senators, while they were busy belly crawling and running for their lives. So to buy some time, he did the one thing he could do cheaply and efficiently. He ran the other way with a shiny object and had them chase. And so the Department of Justice continues that the mob Bozell included chased the officer up a staircase. The responding officer led the rioters into the Ohio clock corridor where a line of other officers awaited. In other words, Eugene Goodman ran them into a waiting proper ambush by Capitol Police, the few that were there against the rioters. Bozell separated from the group even then and made his way down a hall and entered a meeting room for senators. So Bozell even got away from that, because the cops were outnumbered and outmatched. They couldn't control everybody. And then around that time, two officers checking rooms for staffers in hiding discovered Bozell in the room. They escorted him out. He rejoined the rioters, walked deeper into the Senate building, eventually made his way to Pelosi's office. As he exited his office, he took a souvenir with him, and then he proceeded to the rotunda doors where he met more of the rioters and another flood of rioters into the building. And then soon after, Bozell was videoed on the balcony of the U.S. Senate chamber as the mob chanted, "Treason, treason." He unpacked a bag he found filled with emergency supplies. He climbed over railings. He took the C-SPAN camera and pointed it down so they couldn't record. So Mr. Shipley, the lawyer for Mr. Bozell, to sit there with a straight face and tell a federal judge that all your client was doing was being an accidental tourist, wandering and meandering around, and even went so far as to tell the judge, without really any corroborating evidence at all, that all his client was trying to do was his small part to help the police. That is against the greater weight of the evidence, beyond a reasonable doubt, that got your client convicted. Now let's talk about Bozell's father. I know you're on the edge of your seat here. Bozell's father, Leo Brent Bozell III, founded Media Research Center in the 1990s, and parents, and also a parent network about the media, also in the 1990s, presumably to point out the liberal bias in the media in the 1990s. So he was reasonably popular in conservative, soon-to-be MAGA circles for trying to do that, for setting up this institute, raising money on the back of it. He wrote a number of books. And then, interestingly, and we'll have to figure out where this flipped, when Donald Trump was running for office in 2016, one of his biggest critics was this now convicted Jan 6th insurrectionist father. Leo Brent Bozell III went on Fox News and said, God help us if Donald Trump is elected, and he's the biggest charlatan the world has ever seen until Donald Trump got elected. And then he went after the liberal bias attacking Donald Trump, even though it was pointed out to him that his own criticism of Donald Trump was some of the strongest criticisms of Donald Trump on the media. But of course, now he's got to worry about his fundraising being dried up, Bozell, and he's on the wrong side of MAGA, so he's got to get on the right side. And of course, the son at 44, following all this, decides to join in wearing his, high school sweatshirt, because that's what you do when you're an insurrectionist, so you can make it easy to identify yourself by the feds. You go and attack the Capitol and the cradle of our particular democracy. The other thing that Bozell is known for is some choice words he used about President Obama in 2011 when he was on Fox News, when he didn't like that a caller into the show or somebody that was on the show said that a Republican candidate looked like a car bomber. To sort of pay it back, he said, well, what if I said that President Obama looked like I'm just quoting his words now, he looked like a skinny ghetto crackhead. So you have this guy who just got convicted's father, talk about apple and tree again, calling the President of the United States a skinny ghetto crackhead. That's the lack of civility and the social contract that is completely missing or present in the Republican Party today. The fact that they can say those kind of things. And then you raise a child, or an adult, sorry, he's 44, who decides he's going to lead the charge against democracy and obstruct justice. And a federal judge has found that he is convicted now of 10 charges, including 5 felonies, including obstruction of Congress. And the same judge is going to be sentencing him, Mr. Zeker, Mr. Leo Brent Bozell IV, on Jan 9. We'll follow all of the important Jan 6 prosecutions, indictments, and convictions and sentencings, one place on the MeidasTouch network on their YouTube channel. Help them get to 2 million free subscribers. Just click and you've subscribed, and you'll get our content like this without interruption. In fact, to help me, to make sure you're liking my content, help me with my ratings, give me a thumbs up and leave a note on the chat or the comments. It helps with the algorithms. Really important to a network that's not supported by any outside investors. This is how we do it, the way we're doing it here, with our sponsors and free subscriptions and other ways that you can get more involved. Wednesdays and Saturdays, join me on Legal AF. It is what you think. It's the leading podcast at the intersection of law and politics. It's just like Hot Takes, but better, because there's 2 of us talking about these issues and bringing our experience. Wednesday, I do it with Karen Freeman-Agnifilo, former prosecutor. Saturday, you want to hear again from the MeidasTouch founder, Ben Meisalas? Here's your chance on law and politics with me on Saturday on Legal AF. And then you can just pick it up anywhere you get your audio podcasts. And if you like my body of work, go over to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel, slide over to playlists and look for Michael Popok. You'll find me there. And finally, we got a shiny new website. It's called MeidasTouch.com. Go there for breaking news. They've got a whole newsroom now of reporters that are reporting, putting together information that you need. Our audio is there. Our video is there. Articles about what we've talked about. Documents that we refer to are posted there. Go there now. And until that next hot take, this is Michael Popok, Legal AF.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.